Hey, what's up, everyone? Bruce Moore here from the Brutally Delicious podcast. Before we get started in today's show, I want to tell you about our friends over at the Highbrow Drivel podcast. Man, I stumbled across this podcast just recently, and I can't say enough about it. These guys found a way to pair guest stand-up comedians with world-leading experts in their field of knowledge, resulting in a podcast that is as funny as it is informative. I never would have thought that I would spend the time to listen to a podcast that talked about the orgasm gap, dinosaurs, or how self-awareness works in the brain. But I can tell you, I laughed and learned all the way through this. My favorite episode was whether or not humans will colonize Mars, and I have my own take on it. But I encourage you to click on the link below or go to highbrowdrivel.com for some great laughs and even more knowledge.
My name is Paul Michael.
I'm Cal Stamp.
We're in the band Record Heat.
And you are listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast with our man Bruce Moore.
And we're.
I think I'm.
Go ahead.
Okay, great. I was going to say Steve just emailed. I don't know if you saw that. He's not going to be able to make it today, unfortunately.
I didn't see it yet, but that's okay. I usually have a partner, but she's sick today as well, so we'll just make it all work. Cool. Well, thanks for
figure it all out.
Oh yeah, thanks for joining me. Where are you guys located at? You're in New York?
Yeah, New York. Yeah, Brooklyn.
Oh, okay,
area.
Cool.
Or actually, I was in Ridgewood. I was Queens, and then like and Steve's in Greenpoint, and then not Cobble Hill. What's the other hill? Anywhere.
I'm originally from Long Island. Yeah, I'm originally from Long Island and actually worked in a bunch of studios in New York City for years.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Where'd you work?
I worked at the Hit Factory for a while as an intern and an assistant, and then at Soundtrack for about 10 years as an engineer.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
right, cool.
way back in the hip hop days. It was all hip hop and rap.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, like Public Enemy, Heavy D, that kind of weird stuff.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
But, that's awesome. Were you on the? Yeah, it's cool. All right. It's good stuff though.
Oh yeah, it was great. I mean, great experiences. I had a lot of fun. But we're not here to talk about me, so let's talk about you guys. Can you give us the? Can you give us the 2-second boardroom pitch for those not familiar?
Okay. Record Heat is an energetic pop band from Brooklyn, New York that likes to freak people out. I think that's pretty much it.
That's pretty good. And you came across pretty well.
I'll give you the 15 second. Yeah.
That's great. I ask people that quite often, and it seems like they're deer in headlights. They can't seem to get through that. So.
I start to open my mouth, and sometimes things come out that shouldn't come out, but things always come out.
No, that's good. That's good. That's for sure. So let's talk about the new EP. When is it supposed to be released? It's coming up shortly, right?
Well, there's one which came out in March.
Right.
Record Heat 1. There is a new EP coming out in July. Another one. The second.
I thought it was June.
Combo.
Right?
We have like a. Oh yeah. So we have a couple. We're going to release 3 EPs total. Three song EPs over the course of the next year. So that's a number. The second one is coming out. It's not called 2 though. We decided. We found we figured out a name, but it's not called 2.
Are they all connected in theme?
Kind of. I mean, they're definitely all the songs for these EPs came out of a the last couple years, and they all are a lot more personal. It was pretty kind of crazy couple years, right? We had we got signed to Atlantic for a hot second. We got dropped from Atlantic after a hot second. Got a new label. We changed the name from Spirit Animal to Record Heat.
Right.
So it was kind of like it was a big, personal time, introspective time. We were touring a ton, so we were together a lot, which for better or for worse, kind of like sort of as a catalyst, like amplifies all sorts of, interpersonal demons.
Sure.
which makes for great art. It makes for great writing. We like it definitely pulling from some plot. So like, so for this session, these sessions, it was all, especially Steve, since he's writing the lyrics, he had some stuff to get out, and it shows, and it's great. It's it's a little more from the heart than what he's done in the past, which has kind of been more like pop and universal sort of themes.
Right.
But now he's like, I think he hit sort of a sort of like a special spot.
Do you find that it changed your trajectory or changed your sound when he started writing more from the heart? Because to me, pop is more bubbly and doesn't really take on the heavy issues, right? Where you kind of do so here. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, definitely. For sure. Like we've never been like, sorry, when I say pop, I mean kind of like just like, like just like it's pop songs, rock songs,
Right.
that sort of like in that genre, like sort of like that thing.
Right.
For the material, we always tried to put in the extra effort, for a lot of reasons. We're all, I come from like punk and hardcore. Steve's like just like a smart dude. He's like, he got 1600 SATs. He's like wildly smart. And Cal is into all sorts of like, like some of his favorite songwriters are the classics, right? The Eagles,
Right.
Tom Petty's of the world, the ones that like, like put a lot of effort into the craft and how they developed a song, right? And so we like to sort of harken back to that for sure when we write anyway. So we always try to be a little smart with it. And we always try to go the extra mile. And it's funny because in the studio, it's so funny because we'll be writing and Steve's always like, it's his favorite thing to say. It's like, we can beat this. We can beat this. We can beat this. So like we'll and it frustrates the hell out of me and Cal for sure because we'll both be like, oh, that sounds great. Okay, we're done. And
Right.
Steve will come up and be like, we can beat this. And so
Hey.
so it can be like a really.
Excuse me 1 second. Cal's here.
Oh, nice, awesome, great.
I'm getting him in. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but here he is.
No. Yeah. So let's get this guy in here. Speak of the devil.
Cal.
Hello.
Hey, can you hear us
What
okay?
up?
I can. Yeah. Sorry, I was in the waiting room, but it must not have been connecting or something.
I don't know. You just showed up and I let you in as soon as I saw you. So welcome. We're just chatting.
Wait, yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. My partner's not here today. She got sick, so you're going to have to just deal with me, but I'm prepared and ready to roll.
No, same with us. Same with us. Steve's on daddy duty. I'm sure Paul already told you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah. I was just at the part where I was like telling him about the we can beat this stuff about our lyric writing process.
Oh,
And the frustrations it can cause, but also the fact that it makes some good stuff happen.
yeah. Carry on. Don't let me
do you find it,
your answer.
I know maybe you're not necessarily writing it, but do you find it cathartic in a sense? Getting that shit out there?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Cal, you want to take
You mean
this?
lyrically?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. Especially, I'm sure Paul. I'm not sure if you already mentioned this, Paul, but particularly on this new EP, it's all pretty personal and it's all heavily. It's all about our sort of experience, ups and downs, highs and lows in the music business, and getting slapped around by
Everyone.
all that music money.
Right. So along those same lines, then, do you find that people that you've connected with reach out to you at some point, either online or I guess you haven't had shows in a while, but do you find people connecting with it, and how does that make you feel?
Well, yeah. Well, the shows were great. I mean, we go back to because we were, definitely a touring band and a performance band. We were just touring hard for a while, and like we have a really really great fan base, and yeah, they would come up to us after the show all the time, and especially Steve, because Steve would like man the merch booth and hang out, and he made it a real point to connect to everybody. And so I think that point of contact and that realness is something that you feel and something that people react to regardless of the lyrical content. But yeah, especially, I mean, like there were certain things like with the earlier records where we try to keep it positive and make sure there's hope and there's, like sort of something to work towards, and a lot of people got that. And we had like cancer survivors, we had people that had like, weight loss journeys, like it's like a whole bunch of people and all types kind of would definitely respond to that sense of hope and sense of like, we can do this, we're in it together,
right?
All that stuff we definitely made a point to say in our work.
But this new EP is all despair and bitterness and resentment and pain.
It's a lot of anger, a lot of rage.
I think that's one of the things that I think that we did a nice job of, if I can pat ourselves on the back here, is that we did a good job, I think, of balancing genuine expressions of struggle and frustration with I think the record's still fun and it's still joyful and it's still got a lot of I don't think you come away with it feeling like you listen to some bitter guys complaining about the record business. I think you come away with it, you had a kind of a laugh with us about what it's like, and and we're still at it because we still love it, and that's why you do it.
You mean you're not at it because it's paying multi-millions?
Oh, that's the other reason.
right.
My bank account's the other reason why.
Right. So I'm looking at the one sheet that Claire sent over, and I've got to ask you, I usually just pick and choose from these, but tell me about writing in the bathroom. That's very interesting to me.
Well, it's typically like it's typically just kind of an escape. I grew up in a house that was like 5 people, 2 bedrooms, 3 siblings, all in a room together. And so the only way for me to get away often was to go like lock myself in the bathroom, and I would go take my music or my headphones or a book, and I would just like hole up in there, and my mom would be like pounding on the door because she wanted to use the bathroom.
Right.
So now, in a writing session, you can often it can become a little bit like 3 siblings in a bedroom or more, because the producer's like playing the same measure and a half of the track over and over again, and there's like 3 different top layers going, and you're like, okay, I can't write in this environment. So you go lock yourself in the bathroom, and you work through the idea, and you come out, and
voila.
Hopefully,
what's it going to be
hopefully
like when
good.
the boom happens? Because promoters are going to have to. There's going to be a plethora. Can I use that word? That's a big word, of shows. And only so much money in most people's pockets, right? You're going to have like everybody competing for the same dollars.
That's no different than how it was before.
I guess
it's a. Yeah. No, I mean, like
there will be. We're gonna go ahead, Paul. I thought you were done.
No, go ahead, Cal. Go.
There will be, and this is something that I'm kind of like, because you just invent things to stress about. There will be more people trying to tour at once than ever, and because of just what happened, and because of what just happened, less venues in which to perform than ever. So I do think that at least for a period of time at the beginning of the glut, there's going to be a bit of a bottleneck that might be.
Maybe festivals are the way, like more festivals.
Well, it's going to hurt the little bands, and it's going to behoove the big bands, basically. Which is, this is America.
This is like it's like the week before South by, trying to get a tour anywhere the week before South by. If you're on tour the week before South by and you're going anywhere in the Southwest, it's awful. You can't get a show within 1,000 miles.
Yeah, right.
Like
so that'll be just America. And you're gonna get. I mean, I don't know if it's true. You're gonna get like bands like, oh, Green Day is gonna do a month at 930 Club. Cool. Which means like no band that shouldn't be playing 930 Club gets to play 930 Club.
Yeah.
How has
can't wait.
So just let me go back to this, what we've been dealing with for the last year for a second, to touch on it. How has that affected you guys, and what is your takeaway from the last year and a half of living through all this nonsense? Not just virus, but everything in general.
Expensive question.
We can move on if you want.
No, it's a good question. Just you gotta chew on it for a second.
No. Well, we always say that like being in a van, stuck in a van with just us for like years in a row,
totally
prepped us for it. You know,
You're ready.
We're gonna be isolated from family and friends for a long period of time. Oh yeah, just like touring.
Totally.
You know,
touring, quarantine, and mid-level band touring is they're very similar. Now you know what it's like to go on in a sprinter.
Yeah,
gotcha.
But other than that, I mean, like it's for the band itself or interpersonally, it's great. You know, we were able to like kind of like make some decisions regarding, you know, the makeup of the band and our direction and all sorts of other stuff that you need time to think about. Right. So that it really, I mean, because you need the breathing space. So again, like to be like defiantly positive here, I think that there are some good things that came about of it. You know, that come out of it. It's like our method of working kind of works because we do a lot of stuff online and on our computers anyway. So it just gave us breathing room and gave us time to kind of like think about what we wanted to do and do it.
Yeah. Okay. I think also in defiant positivity, in the spirit of defiant positivity, I think it's been good for us just as people outside of the band. I just, you know, I enjoy Paul and hanging out. I enjoy hanging out with Steve, you know, and sometimes when you're constantly working together and playing together and we're living together, writing together, whatever the together is, being in a band forces you to be on top of each other. And this gave us a chance to kind of step back and just be friends again in a way that didn't require work. I mean, it usually involved work anyway because we love to do it, but it didn't, you know, it wasn't like we have to do this thing now. It was like, hey guys, let's hang out and maybe we'll do this or maybe we won't.
So I think I know the answer, but I think Paul might have alluded to it earlier. Are you guys writing all together, or because of this situation, are you writing more or less like throwing emails back and forth and Pro Tools sessions or whatever?
More the latter because of the obvious limitations of.
Do you find that it's I mean, I know it's a different process, but do you find that the outcome is different? Because I think like the old school way of writing and rehearsing, you know, all in the same room, bouncing ideas over each other makes it more organic, right?
Not necessarily. Go ahead, Paul.
Oh yeah, no, I think our process is generally been, even in the early stages, wasn't necessarily like as like a band rehearsing and jamming and figuring it out. I think Steve comes from like a production background. You know, like we all had, you know, have our own writing backgrounds too, and so like we come in usually with some ideas, you know, and recently, especially, like, you know, like it's a pretty fully formed type thing, or we'll like work with someone else in a studio and do it that way. It can be just as creative as like being in a room together. And I think since there is so much technology involved, it's actually easier if you're just in front of the computer sometime to get some of the sounds that we like to hear.
Right.
Because if you have, I mean, like, I have a lot of pedals. Cal can attest.
Great pedals.
I play my pedals better than I play my bass, but there's still like a limitation on what you can do. So like if you're in the studio, you can, you know, we like to be unlimited in how we approach. And Steve especially has like a lot of production stuff and like a lot of like blips and creaks and, you know, whatnots kind of that he likes to put in there. So it's really important for us to have that in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Now and how that kind of confers to like what you're saying though too, and we try to keep it organic in a way. It's like we get all the stuff together, we write the song, we make it happen, and then we get in a room and try to play it as a band. And if it clicks, we know it's good. If it's, you know, something that like is giving us a lot of trouble, we know we have work to do on the song. And so still that band element exists.
So along those same lines then, has there been an instance, or do you find sometimes it's difficult to translate what you've written in front of your computers and whatever to the live setting or to the rehearsal room?
Yeah, sometimes.
right? Because you could just layer shit on and do all kinds of crazy quantizing, but then maybe it doesn't come across live. You've come across that?
Yeah. Well, it's not so much the sounds. You just build so many interesting sounds, and then the only way to get them is to play them through the speakers. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't get some of these synth sounds, any other way. Right. So that's usually the biggest. How do you make it feel good and feel cool without just being a karaoke?
Right.
Karaoke.
Right.
Act.
That makes sense.
But that's typically something that we can overcome. If the song's good, the song can transcend the arrangement, can transcend the production.
Right.
So oftentimes if the song can't survive without some little bleep or squawk, then maybe, like Paul said, it's probably time to go back to the drawing board.
Gotcha. All right, so I've got one last one because we're running out of time here. But so I usually ask this: what's the craziest on stage incident, failure, accident that has happened to you? And I'll give you an example. You're laughing, so you got to go to them. But let me share mine because I asked this a lot. And I was talking to this band from, I believe they're from Germany, Saltatio Mortis. It's like a folk metal band. And they were getting ready to play Wacken, the big music festival over there. And he sat down on his drum set and a hornet flew up his shorts and stung him in the nuts. With 30,000 with 30,000 people ready to go. So he said he played like in searing pain. But I'm curious, what do you have?
He played through it.
Oh, he played through it. Rock and roll.
A spider did bite my my situation when we were in the studio once.
Yeah.
But that's not quite as high stakes. Paul, I think you probably got the best on stage.
I mean, so it's the motor pub of Cincinnati.
Cincinnati,
it's the same one. The Cincinnati Mariachi Pub. So it's like a bar. It's great. It's a super fun place. We were playing that this is years ago.
Oh yeah, 2014 maybe.
Yeah, and so it's this tiny stage, and there's 4 of us in all our gear, and I really like to have antics and bounce around the stage, and so does Steve, and I'm on the edge, and so basically it's like an L shape, it's in the corner,
both literally and metaphorically. He's on the edge.
Yeah. So exactly, and so and then there's there's a passageway to my left to get back to the back room and the bathrooms, and the stage is maybe, I don't know, 1.5 feet high. It's not a high stage,
right?
And I'm raging. I'm having the best time, so good, until I miss the edge of the stage. And I end up tumbling off the stage with my bass still on me and on my knees into this lady's crotch, into this lady's vagina.
Hard face.
No way, really?
Hard face plant right into this lady's.
Nice.
And who was just having a good time at the show. And it was embarrassing on everyone's level, on my level, on the band's level, on her level. I felt so bad. It was I think that was the worst sort of I think I played through though.
You did play through it.
I played through.
So no damage.
I picked myself up and
no damage to the bass.
Only
and no damage
pride.
Just to your pride, right?
Nice. I didn't think I had any pride left, and then it took the last little bit.
That's the end of it.
That was it. That was the end of it. So
I don't have anything else. Did I miss anything you guys want to cover?
Just our recordheat.us to plug recordheat.us on all the Instagram, all that sort of stuff. So find us Record Heat US. That's the way to find us. And it's us too. It's not
Yeah, / Record Heat US and check out that new EP, Record Heat 1.
Yeah.
Ever wonder what a punch from Elton John feels like?
Or how you'd cope with having turned down the chance to be in Nirvana?
Or what signal Keith Richards gives when he wants you to get the hell out of his hotel room?
Fans of Too Much Effing Perspective don't have to wonder, because they've heard these exact stories and a jillion others on our podcast. I'm Alex Hoffman, former tour manager for Radiohead.
And I'm musician and comedy writer Alan Keller. On the TMEP show, we get guests like Nancy Wilson from Heart, Jeremiah Freites from the Lumineers, and Modern Family's Julie Bowen to tell us things they may have only shared with their therapist, clergy, or a TMZ stringer.
So join us on Too Much Effing Perspective. That's EFFING Perspective. The only podcast you crank up to 11.